Welcome to Cooking Americana, great meals on a budget. Today's meal is country pork chops with rice and glazed carrots. This is what you'll need for the whole meal, and I do have a link to a printable recipe for all of these recipes in the description. Total cost is going to be $8.50. We're going to start out with about a cup of flour, add some onion powder. We're making sort of a dredge here. Garlic powder. Some Himalayan salt. I use the pink Himalayan because it has a lot of minerals in it, and I really like that. And some pepper. You can use regular salt if you like. Mix it all up. And now we've got that pan hot. We're going to go ahead and add the oil. Dredge those chops in that flour mixture that you made. Get them nice and coated. Shake off any excess though. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me out in the YouTube world, and I do need the help. Go ahead and place those pork chops in the pan with that hot oil, and let's get them seared. See how nice and golden brown they are? Once they're like that, flip them over to the other side. We're going to kind of hurry through flipping these guys over. Once both sides are done, we're going to take them, put them on a plate, and set them aside. We're going to put them back in later. Now we're going to do the gravy. Remember that dredge flour that we had left over? Well, we added some chicken broth to it and made this slurry. So pour that in. We want to cook that flour. We want to cook it off. So you want to cook it for about 2 or 3 minutes and then add a little bit of chicken broth and continue to cook. Now we're going to slowly add chicken broth to bring up the texture to closer to a gravy. So you'll see me here. I'm adding and whisking all along. Just keep doing that. We don't want it to brown. We're still cooking that flour somewhat. Now we're going to put the pork chops right back into that. And it's not quite as thin as the gravy yet, but we're going to get there. I'll go ahead and add the juices from the plate it was sitting in and some more chicken broth. Now I had quite a bit here. I went through about 4 cups total, and then kind of messed around with the pork chops to get them a little bit covered with that gravy-ish stuff, and then a little more chicken broth to finish it off. We're going to cook this for about 20-25 minutes in that mixture covered. So those chops are going to be nice and juicy, and it's going to already have a gravy made. So you're not going to have to make a gravy after this. You've made it already, and the pork chops are cooking in it. Next, we're moving on to the rice. I put some chicken broth in there and some rice and stirred it up. Cover it. And we're going to not take the cover off here until we're done. You're going to look for steam bubbles along the edges. That's how you know it's boiling. Set the timer for 20 minutes so you have your chops and your rice cooking at the same time. We're moving on to the carrots now, starting out with a little bit of butter. We added a couple of tablespoons of water to that. I know this is kind of interesting and odd. There's some brown sugar, so add that, a couple of tablespoons of that. Melting that butter in the water, bringing it up to a good simmer. Added some cinnamon. And that's a whole nutmeg. I use those. You can use ground already if you'd like. And I used a microplane, and I just kind of shaved off some of that nutmeg. Maybe an 1/8 of a teaspoon. You don't want to use very much. Stir it all up and then get your frozen carrots and drop them right in that pan. Stir it up a little bit. Just kind of get them into the liquid as best you can. And then we're going to put a top on it and let that simmer for about 10 minutes or so. That liquid will kind of evaporate. Now we're going back to where this is all done. This is what it looks like when the pork chops are done. Look at that gravy. I mean, you just can't beat that. It's already made, already done, and it's really tasty. The rice is perfect. I actually turned the rice off, the burner off under the rice the last 5 minutes. So that makes sure, because the liquid is gone, it doesn't burn. We're going to cover both of those back up and go check on our carrots. Make sure those are fork tender and nicely coated. Here we are plating this. Throw some rice on your plate. Then the chop kind of partially on that rice, and then scoop some of that gravy out and put it all over the top of that, just as much as you want. You've got plenty of gravy there for everybody. Add the carrots to the plate, and that is your entire dinner. And again, we're $8.50 for a family of 4 on this one. So really, really inexpensive and really, really good. Take a look at that, how that pork chop looks. I'd like to thank you for joining me in my kitchen today for this wonderful pork chop with rice and carrots. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Help me out in the algorithms. And as always, I hope you guys have a blessed day.